Yep, this is it. 17 races, and it all comes down to this. The Area Cup Series Season 6 finale is finally upon us, and we're here at Atlanta Motor Speedway circa 2008, and we're ready to go racing for one final time here this season. It's winner take all, 4 drivers competing for the title, and it's whoever beats the other. Seth Knoll, the number 1, Jake Nichols in the 73, Jake Matheson in the 54, and James Scioli, the number 7, fighting for glory at the tail end of the Area Cup Series season. Kyle Heyer joined by Finian DeCuna and Hunter Sleppy for this season finale. Finian, welcome aboard. Always thrilled to be here at Atlanta, and we're here at the old version of Atlanta for a good reason, because this place puts on a great show every time we come here.
Yeah, it's going to be a very unique challenge for not just the Championship 4, but all drivers involved here tonight. It's going to be a tough one to adapt to, especially considering after running the new version of Atlanta for the last year or so in the sim. So it's going to be a big change for the competition. We'll see who's going to come out on top.
Yeah, it's a lot of unknown for these guys, as most of them really haven't been at this racetrack since the reconfiguration of Atlanta. Almost all area races have been run under the new Super Speedway version, but that changes tonight, and couldn't think of a better track to crown the champion at, Kyle. This did, in fact, used to be the championship race before they moved it to Homestead and then Phoenix in real life NASCAR, and it always put on a show, so I'm thrilled to see what this entails for us tonight.
I think the drivers are excited about this as well. This is a place where you have to drive the race car. You're not going to get away with beating up the tires here, even in the next-gen cars where tires haven't been as important historically. Cars on the racetrack, those in the championship fight are lit up in blue on the ticker. Seth Knoll, the number 7 of Scioli, the 73 of Jake Nichols, and the 54 of Jake Matheson are your title contenders. And Seth Knoll's already on the racetrack in that Solar Flare number 1, kicking his lap off here and off into the first corner. You get one try to make this lap go fast, and it will matter where you start in the field over 30 feet.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see Seth Knoll all the way up on the top, gaining speed, gaining momentum, and this is on his one qualifying lap, so he's picking that as the way to go around, carrying that speed and momentum, and then heading down in the middle of the quarter in 3 and 4.
Not sure if we'll see any Harvicking where cars tend to hug the bottom line, but we'll see what this lap entails for the one of Seth Knoll, championship contender, looking to become a champion tonight.
And he will go first quick for the moment. James Scioli is on track already on his qualifying effort. Jake Nichols has not yet started to roll. The 54 is rolling, but not yet on his flyer, so he should get nicely staggered and see which of these drivers is really the championship favorite. Now, coming into the night, as far as the championship is concerned, again, the points don't matter at this stage. It is just winner take all. But when you look at the season's standings and the season stats, as the 7 goes 9th quick, that's a disappointing lap for James Scioli. Seth Knoll has won 6 races. Doesn't that just make him the easy favorite?
It really does. I think he's definitely going to be the favorite going into tonight. He's had a phenomenal season, even regardless of where he'll end up finishing. He's had probably one of the best seasons we've seen, other than what we saw from Jake Nichols in Season 3, where he had 9 wins to top out the season in Seasons 2 and 3. For Nichols, as we look at Jake Matheson. And speaking of Jake Matheson, he's trying to make up for what happened last season, where he ended up having internet disconnect and had no internet connection issues the entire rest of the season. Unfortunately, been him in the behind in the final race of the season, was out of it, but he's trying to make up for it. He's going to start with putting it on provisional pole in the 54.
But here comes Jake Nichols looking to put down a steaming lap time for the pole, try to dethrone Matheson. He won't, so Jake Matheson will start the furthest in front of the championship contenders.
That's a strong lap there by Jake Matheson, just ahead of Seth Knoll. And we've had 16 races thus far in this championship, and Seth Knoll's got 6, Nichols 3, Matheson 2, and Scioli 2. So that's 13 races, 11 races across the board. Nope, I had that right. 13 races across the board that of the 16 that they've won. Only 3 other drivers have claimed victories: Peyton Howell, Tyler Nichols, and Adam Cabot. None of those drivers will get to fight for a championship tonight. Connor Horn goes 8th quick. He was eliminated last week. Out here's Travis Beckner in the 28, bottom of the racetrack in 3 and 4.
Yeah, fortunately for Travis Beckner, it's not going to matter where he qualifies at, because he's got a drive-through, and you can see he doesn't care where he qualifies. He's doing flying through the grass, I think, testing the waters for later.
Yeah, bumpy ride down there. Tyler Reddick had a flip a couple of weeks back going through the quarter-mile track, so I don't think anyone's going to want to try that. The 51 of Ricky Springer, though, looking to end the season on a high note, probably put the car into victory lane, see what he can do.
Springer across the stripe, and it's a 31.523, goes fourth quick. Strong effort as he coasts by and through turn one. Looks like he'll be top 5 unless anybody else can rip a pretty good lap. I think the only one that will have a chance, and he won't even, is Douglas Newbigging. So we have a lot of non-qualifiers. Is that because our EOL list is, yes, it is
yeah,
long.
I was going to say, it's a decent list. And also a couple guys tried to make a lap time, but weren't able to get a clean lap in, I should say.
Oh, Newbigging getting in the wall. I gotta say, I'm shocked with how high these guys are running through the corners. This is the old Atlanta, so it is bumpy throughout the turns and even the front stretch and back stretch. So a little shocked to see that. I think it's only just for qualifying. Not sure what the race is going to show us, but nonetheless, Jake Matheson going to be leading the field to the green, and that is a strong. That's a strong note you want to start on.
Absolutely, starting up front, and it's easier to stay up front if you can have that very strong starting position. And make sure that you check out twitch.tv/Area iRacing and subscribe. As a subscriber, you'll have Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat, and you can earn double channel points that you can use to redeem for free merchandise for just $5 a month. Join today, twitch.tv/Area iRacing. And SimTV will no longer be carrying the Area series come season 7, so you'll have to go to Twitch, at least in the short term, to view all of that action with certainty. And we'll update you more on the rest of the future for Area when we know more. Very excited, very thankful to be with this group. Fitting this is the last Cup Series race we'll have on here, at least in the short term, as we both kind of pursue other things in our personal lives. But it's been a really fun run. This is now the 7th year, going into the 7th year of SimTV, and it's just about time to kind of wind things down just a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's kind of crazy. In a couple months, it'll be 8 years.
Is that right? So we are in year 7 already.
Oh, no. Sorry, no. I think we're approaching our 7th. I think I might have misspoken.
Yeah.
I was going to say 8 feels like too long. but honestly, 7 feels like too long. It's kind of crazy how long we've been doing this.
There are children entering 4th grade, 3rd grade, 3rd grade.
Second or third grade.
I don't know what grades children are in anymore. But there are children that their parents might not even been married yet, and they're going into 1st grade. So that's terrifying. Anyway, with that, let's have a look at some of the drivers that are giving us some onboards here tonight. We've got Brett Hunkari giving us a look on board. We'll give you a little look inside what Brett's got tonight. There's his virtual reality rig. Michael Curhan, what does he have on his side tonight? Wish I got an interview with the SimTV guys in their last season with us. Good luck to the Championship 4 drivers. Well, it's not going to be possible. You just got to finish up in the front. We'll see if he can do just that as the reigning champ. There's Travis Beckner giving us a look on board, as he has all season long and pretty much everything he's run. Always grateful for his presence. Bryce Senesac giving us a look inside with the LEDs in the backdrop. Connor Horn has his SimTV hat on. Those were limited edition. I've still got some laying around somewhere. And then Ricky Springer giving us a look. So there's your onboard cameras tonight, Finian.
Yeah, Paul, to see everyone up and ready to go, getting ready, especially our championship drivers ready to have one final crack and trying to get a championship. Let's take a look at Connor Horn. Do you know how many hats do you have left with you?
I got 3 or 4 of them left.
Oh, okay.
They're in this room somewhere.
Somewhere.
Sell them to you for $10 million. They're going to go up in price now that the company folded, right?
Do they?
No.
No.
I'm talking about us.
Oh, but us. Oh.
You got to create your own scarcity. That's how you make money.
In that case, I should sell mine.
So here's what my grand plan was: to sell those 3 hats and then restart SimTV under a new name, and then make hats and then kill that company.
You started TV Sim.
Correct. Now you're thinking business. So warm-up still underway here. 140 laps tonight. Looking back historically, we're expecting. Let's see. What are we expecting as far as stats here this evening? Do we have stats?
No, we don't have stats because we've
never been here.
No,
I feel like we totally have been here. Maybe not as a finale.
The old Atlanta?
Yeah.
So yeah,
No.
we have back in season 1, but because that was so outdated with the Gen 6 car,
yeah.
there's the stats back there wouldn't even back up for what we
What
have
series did the oval here? We redid this like recently, I thought.
Yeah, with the All-Star race.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so not applicable for stats purposes.
No.
Fair
Not
enough.
really.
Fair enough. Let's have a look at the weather here. It's usually pretty toasty, 120 degrees Fahrenheit on the racetrack. Not terribly hot, but not cool either. And 72 degrees in the air, so it's a nice, comfortable day here Georgia.
Oh, you know what? I'll give you some stats.
What do you got?
We've been to 4.5-mile races this year, and each winner is contending for a championship tonight.
Oh, really? How about that?
That is fascinating.
Yeah, Matheson won in Texas, Jake Nichols at Charlotte, and then Seth Knoll at Chicagoland, and finally, last week at Kansas, James Scioli.
I suppose it's not that crazy because they've won 13 of the 16 races so far.
Yeah.
So I guess, I mean,
What is interesting is that all 4 of them have won at 1.5 miles.
yeah, that is the interesting thing. So either way, still a cool stat. Not trying to yuck your yum, you know.
Interesting stat too, of course, for Jake Nichols, 3-time champion, trying to make it 4-time. Everyone else looking for their first.
Before we get rolling here with the starting lineup, we'd like to take a moment and thank our starting grid sponsor, that's Central Mobile Homes. If you're looking for a small or large home, a new shed, or a Triple Crown trailer, look no further than Central Mobile Homes. They've been proudly serving Florida customers for 28 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plans, shed designs, and Triple Crown trailers. Available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to CentralMobileHomesInc.com to get started today. Waiting for the warm-up to conclude before we can turn them loose for 140 laps around here. You can see the heat haze off in turn 4. That's been Calamity Corner in the real world here. Where's the trouble spot tonight, Finian? Where does it seem like drivers have been having the most issues?
I would say turn 2. I'm seeing a couple cars either get up into the wall. There's already a driver spun down. Andrew Payne is down on the apron off turn 2. I really feel like with the way these cars are pushing up off the corner and being flat there, I think we're going to see a couple cars there. But turn 4, I think also definitely want to keep an eye on.
I would have to agree. I mean, we're already seeing guys spin out coming out of 2, and that outside wall, it doesn't stick out. That safer barrier kind of stops at some point, so that might have an issue for some guys.
Well, the checkered flag is out here on warm-up. That means we're heading down for the Central Mobile Homes starting lineup. Let's kick things off with the front row and its 2 playoff competitors. Drivers trying to pick up a championship. Jake Matheson in the number 54 Toyota Camry. Seth Knoll, the other, in the number 1 Toyota Camry.
Moving on back to row number 2, we got 2 non-playoff drivers. Philip Groner's all qualifying effort for him in the 11 car. He's in 3rd. Next to him, Ricky Springer in the 51. He's lined up in 4th.
Brett Puncari starts 5th in the number 35 machine. Michael Curhan rolls off 6th in the number 24.
Then finally back in 7th place with the 07 Adam Cabin. Next to him, Jake Nichols looking to get his 4th Cup championship. He's got to go back from 8th in the number 73.
Starting in 9th, it's Bailey Turner in the number 25 Chevrolet Camaro, and Connor Horn starts alongside him in the number 42 in 10th.
Moving on back to 11th, it's the 99 Nick Silver. Next to him, it's Tyler Nichols in the 41. He's lined up in 12th.
13th place is Peyton Howell in the number 52. Andrew Payne rolls off in 14th, the outside of row 7 in the number 70.
Back in row 8, it's going to be Mason Kane. He's in 31 on the inside. Next to him, Jonathan Oates is in the 45. He's lined up 16th.
And in 17th spot, it's James Scioli, the last of the playoff competitors. He has some work to do in his Toyota Camry. Blaze McKinney in that green and white 87 starts 18th.
Back in 19th, it's going to be Garrett Grant in the number 5. And rounding out your top 20, the 97 of Reese Schaefer.
21st place, Greg Mitchell in the number 2. Ed Robertson starts 22nd in the number 64.
Back in 23rd, it's going to be Bryce Senizek. He's in the 09. Next to him, Seth Berger in the 77. He's lined up 24th.
In 25th spot, it's Matthew Bell, the number 8 Chevrolet. Travis Beckner in the Hendry County Motorsports Park Chevrolet Camaro starts 26th.
Back in 27th, it's going to be Connor Kresick in the number 14 machine. Next to him, Douglas Jibby. He's in the 71, lined up 28th.
29th place, row 15, it's David Weishart in the 33. Jeremy Miller starts 30th in the number 30.
And 31st is going to be Ben Pierce in the 65 machine. Next to him in 32nd, Max Service. He's in the 81.
And the last row, 33rd place, Emerson Arden in the number 57. And Ryan Swan starts 34th in the number 20. Now, Swan has an EOL, and Travis Beckner and Jeremy Miller have some drive-through penalties to serve. That will cost them quite a bit of time here on this racetrack. And cars are beginning to roll now for a couple of pace laps. Let's have another look at the weather information. It's gone up a degree on the track temperature, so that's something to keep an eye on as well tonight. With the starting lineup out of the way and the weather out of the way, let's take our final picks of the season. I'm dead last. I think I'm going to go with a driver that has burned me in the past, but he's got 6 wins on the season. He's starting in the front row. How do you vote against Seth Knoll?
I'll vote against him. I'll vote for the pole sitter and the guy who's chasing his first championship, Jake Matheson.
Well, for me, it doesn't matter because I already clinched championship, so I'm cruising. But if I were to pick one, I think I gotta go with 73, Jake Nichols.
First of all, are we not using the championship format for the playoff race? Winner take all?
Have we done it?
I don't think that. I don't think that's how it works.
If that's how you don't want it to work,
I'd rather not work that way.
Why not?
I would feel robbed.
Well,
It's like most of the people in the current Cup Championship format.
Wow. That's true, though. Lights are on the pace car. They're going to shut off this time by. And next time, we're going to turn them loose for 140 laps. About an hour and 14 minutes from flag to flag. Will likely be a little slower than that. So probably just after 10:30 Eastern time is when we'll see the checkered flag. Lights are out. Predictions for this race, chaos or smooth sailing?
Ooh, I think we might see chaos early on, especially because now we're going to have everyone racing in such a big group like this. The conditions are a little bit unpredictable, and I think drivers are going to have to adjust to that, especially compared to most of the other mile and a halves that are on schedule.
I think it'll be the same way. We'll have some chaos in the beginning because a lot of these guys, as mentioned, haven't run the next gen on this old configuration of Atlanta. It could be smooth sailing at the very end, but 2 of our mile and a half races this season have gone into overtime. That was back at Texas and Chicagoland. So there's that. But I think it's going to be chaotic at first, smooth sailing to the end.
We'll see how it pans out, whether or not we'll get some green flag stops along the way. A couple drivers owe us some penalties. David Weishart didn't take the grid, neither did Ryan Swan by the looks of it, so we'll update you on that scenario if there are updates to be had. Pace car is going to peel off the racetrack and head for home. We're getting set to go racing from Atlanta Motor Speedway, the season finale to the Area Cup Series, season number 6. Time to go racing one final time. Race 17, green flag, and we're underway. Lap 1 complete. Jake Matheson powers ahead to the lead. Seth Knoll has got his hands full. Philip Groner and Adam Cabot behind him.
Yeah, I noticed on the start a lot of guys spinning their tires and struggling to get up to speed, which is something we typically don't see with the lower horsepower in these next-gen cars on fresh tires, at least. So a couple drivers struggling to get up to speed, but finally up to speed. Everyone's getting themselves sorted out, trying to go to the top lane. I think someone got on the wall or got loose.
Matthew Bell in the A was sideways coming out of turn 2. Mason Kane almost got into the wall there in that 31. Hometown race for the 31, but there's that little wiggle from the 8.
That was a little wiggle, wasn't it? Get your heart pumping here early. How about that 7 of James Scioli? Started this race in 17. He's up 3 spots and making ground on the high side, right up next to the wall. Look how tight it is for the 51 rather. That's Ricky Springer going backwards.
And again, James Scioli, he's in a position he really needs to get back up there. He had a poor qualifying effort, but is making slow and steady progress, and just on the outside now in 12th of making it inside the top 10.
Yeah, he's the furthest behind of the championship 4 so far on lap number 4 in the 07 of Adam Cabot. So he jumped from the bottom to the outside in the initial start after Springer did not go, and he's challenging Matheson for the lead.
Up on the outside is that 07, and he's nosing ahead into turn 3. Matheson will stick down to that white line, and it's side by side for lead. They're 3 abreast back here for about 10th spot.
Yeah, they're finding hard, can't figure out the order. Michael Curran up on the top, goes sailing around the outside of Ben Vicari and Peyton Howell. So he will jump up into 8th place, back double file once more. And everyone's trying to figure out where's the speed, where's the grip. Scioli really loving that outside, one of the only drivers really consistently running in that outside lane. Everyone's staying in the bottom or the middle lane.
Yeah, I think that it has its advantages. I think tire wear is going to be concerned here, but if you use the outside lane, that's going to be an advantage in the short term, possibly. And the long term, it might not go well for you. But again, chasing for a championship is Scioli, so he needs to take every advantage that he can, and look at him run that third lane through 1 and 2.
Look at the speed he carries up top, and he's going to look like he shoots out of a cannon on the back straightaway. Right here, he gets this great launch. 5 car lengths, 4 car lengths, 3 car lengths, 2 car lengths, 1 car length as the 52 has to lift, and he's going to go to the outside. He's in the top 10 looking for 9th now.
Well, the issue with him running outside and like really pushing the car on the speed on the outside is I think it'd be the concern about potentially wearing out his right rear. You know, obviously, talk about the next gen, not really having a whole lot of tire wear, but this is such an old and abrasive surface. I feel like that might be something that comes into play here.
Yeah, this is one of those what could have been if we had, I don't know, maybe paved Atlanta a few years earlier or just ran it with the old surface again. But a lot of guys running the bottom now, and Tyler Nichols the first one on that upper lane, and then behind him, Greg Mitchell making it 3 wide. Mason Kane making contact off turn 4 with Nick Silver. Is that 31 in the middle?
That was a little dicey there for a moment, wasn't it? And Finian, you mentioned the tire wear. We're only down about 1/10 of a second here in the first 8 laps. I imagine this is going to get worse. We'll probably see about a second or 2 of fall off. It's not like the 4 or 5 or 6 second fall off that we'll see tomorrow or Thursday, but it is something to note. And I don't even know that you're going to see a lot of lap time fall off. It's just going to drive worse. And that alone could prompt you to want to take tires, even though they're not necessarily faster.
Yeah, on the front straightaway, riding on board with Connor Horn in the 42. Second behind Bailey Turner, just directly in front of him. And Seth Knoll to the outside of the 1 machine.
See him fighting the steering wheel through turn 2 and onto the backstretch. And these guys get as close to the wall as they can, trying to maximize their corner speed and straightaway speed. Michael Curran in the 24 again, making the climb up, trying to get around Connor Horn for that 7th position, but behind him, knocking on the doors, the 7 of Scioli.
Up to 9th place. His progress has stalled slightly now that he's caught some of these faster cars, and he had to use up some tire to do it. But he drops back to the bottom this time, feeling a bit more conservative now. Does that allow Springer? Yes, it does, to jump back to the outside and maybe take this position back away from him. And here comes Tyler Nichols in the 41 there as well.
Yeah, Nichols is riding the outside as well, trying to go up ahead, but I'm sure he's probably not going to try his hardest to get past Seven Ascali, teammate, trying to make sure he has the best opportunity to get back up there. He's been making that slow and steady progress. Seth Knoll, so he made some progress, got ahead of Bailey Turner. Now Bailey Turner back around him, so separating himself from Nichols and Matheson. Matheson still the leader in the championship as they run, but it's so close with that. Cabot leading the race.
Yeah, going to be side by side for the championship here. Kyle, the 54, now running that outside lane. He's actually going to try and get alongside the 07 Cabot for the lead, and that might reel in the 73 of Jake Nichols.
Yeah, I'm curious also, the 73 moving up quickly and the 1 dropping back. I wonder if Seth Knoll is trying to preserve some tire, maybe feeling like it's going to be a longer run, and that maybe we could see a situation like we saw at Kansas where saving some tire towards the end of the run was good in the Tuesday and Thursday races. I haven't seen that a lot work in the next gen, but we'll see what it looks like tonight. Cabot to second, Matheson to the lead, Nichols third, and your championship order is 54, 73, 1, and 7.
Yeah, Cabot trying to see if he can take the lead back. Nichols trying to see if he can get past the 7 of Cabot to have a shot at the lead and take the championship lead as well. Bailey Turner sitting by in 4th, Seth Knoll in 5th. Actually, 6 of 9 doing pretty well, 2nd and 4th, and not too far behind in 7th is Connor Horn. Of course, none of their cars in the championship, but here comes Adam Cabot on the bottom of Matheson for the lead.
Yeah, and Cabot's one of those guys, along with the majority of the field. Oh, wow, almost had a moment coming off 4. He's just looking for wins, and he doesn't care if you're fighting for a championship. He's trying to end the season on a high note himself and win, but that bobble there allowed the 73 to get by, and it allowed Bailey Turner also to reel himself into the battle.
See if Jake is going to carry this momentum up onto the back straightaway and potentially sweep to the inside into turn 3. And here he comes for the lead into turn 3 now. Jake Nichols, Jake Matheson side by side.
For the championship right here, these two fighting side by side for position. Matheson going to, of course, take the momentum off the corner, and that's where I think it's so much more important compared to cars past, of course, for the next gen. Much more reliant on the run off the corner, so that's where we're seeing guys really take advantage of that middle to high lane. But when they're single file, running to the bottom.
Even that time through, it looked like Nichols got through that part of the track better than Jake Matheson. But again, the 07 of Cabot still running that outside lane. Now he's just going to settle in behind. And on the one that Seth Knoll is closed in, Turner's actually lost a couple of spots and might lose another to Scioli in a moment.
Things are kind of coordinating back together here a little bit, which I don't know that I expected to see that. I thought we would see continued spread out throughout most of this race.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see as the tires either wear or don't wear off, I guess. But if they're going a little bit slower. They're now about 3 to 4 tenths off their best lap. So things are starting to slow down a little bit here on lap 16, which is honestly a lot slower than we've seen them at some other tracks. Seth Knoll works on Adam Cabot to put himself in the top 3. Looks to the inside. Cabot way up top. I think he caught a piece of the wall, if not got very close to it.
That was a little tight for me this early in the race. Here comes Jake for the lead again. Jake on Jake.
Yeah, Jake and Jake show into turn 3. Matheson outside, Nichols inside. Going to slide up just a tad bit. Good old side-by-side balance going to allow the one to reel in just a little bit more. And across the front bumper goes the 54 of Matheson, keeping the lead for the moment.
Cream is rising to the top, isn't it? The top 3, now your playoff competitors. And Scioli quickly approaching as well. Jake Nichols pulls even with Matheson out of turn 2. It's a dead heat, but the 54 in that outside is going to pull back ahead again.
Pulls back ahead. Nichols not able to find a way on by because Matheson keeps taking the top lane, really the passing lane, away from him. Now Mason Kane, he's dropping down the order. Not sure if 31 had an issue.
Yeah, he might have tagged the wall. I know he got close to it.
He got really loose in turn 2. Didn't look like he hit anything though, so he's coming, but he is coming down Pitman Road, and I think he will retire the car.
Yeah, so he will drop back. See Jake move back up the racetrack again to use that big run on that 54.
And Matheson going up to block that lane. He knows he can't let that lane up and let him on through. And we talked with Matheson last week after Kansas, and I asked him how is he going to feel going to the championship 4, effectively being 3 against 1. He said, well, he's going to stick it out and perform his best and try to hold off all the solar flare guys as much as he can. Here comes Jake Nichols on the attack, and Seth Knoll slowly approaching from behind.
And there's that outside lane going to work again, keeping the 54 in front of the 73. And you mentioned it, it's a solar flare affair, if you will. Second, third, fourth, although Groner not in the championship hunt, still a car that Matheson has to defend. And the 7 of Scioli as well. He's just gone around Bailey Turner for 6th in the back. So steadily making progress towards the front, trying to catch up with Matheson and Nichols.
It's just one of those things, you come into a championship race with a field this strong, you know that you're going to have to win this race, right? So this is why when you look at the season-long title fight, and if someone comes in here not having won a race, it's the put up or shut up time in this last event.
Yeah, very much so. As the top 3 slowly split away from the rest of the field. James Scully is in 6th, trying to approach Adam Cabot and Philip Groner. Cabot actually looking like he's starting to slip back, falling back to 5th. I wonder if he maybe pushed a little bit too hard early on and trying to keep that lead going.
Well, he's running the same lane that Jake Nichols is running, and Scioli's running behind, trying to close back in and enter the top 5.
So close to that wall.
Flirting with inches for a lot of these drivers, trying to find where the speed is, where the grip is. He's in behind them, Ricky Springer trying to hold up Bailey Turner, who just slots himself into line. There's Connor Horn working the outside of his teammate.
How about Tyler Nichols? I know he won Talladega to lock himself into the playoffs, but he's having a strong run here. This battle right in front of him. Curran gonna have to tuck in line and watch the 42 go to work on the 25 of Bailey Turner.
All the while, Seth Knoll's gone by Jake Nichols. Is now starting to apply some more forward pressure on the race leader, Jake Matheson. And I know he told you last week, I'm just going to go out there and try to beat him. It's like, what choice do you really have?
Well, I imagine he feels a little bit like he might be ganged up on. Of course, I think you just saw the 73 saying, I can't really get at him at this point. You go and have a shot. Let me know how it goes. So Seth Knoll taking point for Solar Flare at least. Up in second, going to try to charge to the 54.
Yeah, he's on the hunt now. 3 car lengths back from the 54. Championship leaders 1, 2, 3, and then Skyly's still in 6th. Then battle for 10th now. Peyton Howell's gone by Michael Curran.
Not a focus. You need to have to run that outside lane, and the way the banking drops away, you have to unwind the wheel and ride that kind of water slide out of turn 2 as the banking kind of falls away. It's like running downhill. If you don't get that coordination just right, you slap the wall, it's game over. It just throws you across the road. Got to be very, very careful with that. Curhan to 11th. He started this race in 6th, so he slid backwards a little bit early.
Most people slurring themselves out. I had to say that there's a big group around Greg Mitchell, Nick Silver, almost 3-4 wide. They've kind of sorted themselves off in turn 2. Otherwise, fairly single file up until they head into the corner and they all fan out.
And Knoll reeling him in again, 2 car lengths back, but that outside lane still proving big dividends to the 54, staying in front. And mentioned it last season, couldn't contend due to connection issues, but when he has connection, he is strong.
All clean and green so far. Here's a look at the stats. 2 leaders, 2 lead changes. Fastest lap, number 5, Garrett Grant. Yeah. He had a drive-through penalty early on. Had some clean air to run. Here comes Seth Knoll for the race lead. He's going to drop to the inside. And Jake Matheson, who has led the last 20 or so laps, has got the 1 car returning to fight him again.
Yeah, but it's so hard. Again, that once you hit the exit of the corner, you can see Matheson take off and Knoll try to come back at him.
Oh,
nope.
Saving fuel.
Oh.
Trying to go to halfway, you think?
I think so. Trying to aim for 70 laps into the run, which should be doable. So, trying to save some fuel, and honestly not too bad of a strategy.
It's F2.
Yeah, this feels like it could go pretty long. I'm not sure if we go all the way without a yellow, but green flag pit stops seems like are within the window for these guys. So try to maximize your fuel as much as you can to try and one-stop it.
Out of turn 4. Groner is side by side there with the 7 of Scioli, who's still making progress. He's a lot of tire to get here. He's still basically matching times with the leaders. It's qualifying time. It was uncharacteristically off pace, but the race pace seems to be there.
Definitely does, and he's doing a good job of just making sure he's at least sticking with the leaders. I mean, he's only a second behind them, so he definitely at least kept touch with them, which is the key thing as he works around his teammate Philip Groner, who I imagine won't put up too terribly much of a fight. The 7 continue off the greener pastures up in front. Ricky Springer trying to follow the 7 on through to get around Philip Groner, stuck on the bottom. Up ahead, Jake Nichols up on top. Adam Cabot looking to the bottom. Cabot's not done yet. He still wants to fight.
Yeah, he's on a charge himself, trying to get back into the podium conversation. Running in the 4th position now, but the top 4, you can fit him under a blanket. Under half a second separating the top 4, and Scioli really, you can make it 5 under a second as Springer's trying to make it a little bit harder for the 7 to get going.
Haley Turner looked middle 3 wide, thought better of it. Now, all 4 of our championship drivers are in the top 5. And Scioli just has to dispatch Adam Cabot, and then it'll just be the top 4 drivers. Everyone else just looking to pick up a win, but they're going to have to beat the best in the series to get there.
Yeah, like you mentioned before, 13 wins amongst all 4 of these drivers in the championship 4 across the 16 races we ran. It really does show you the cream of the top does eventually rise to the top. As Matheson goes high, Seth Knoll will go low, and I just wonder really what Seth Knoll is going to have planned. Because it just seems to be, if he can stick to that top lane, it's really hard to make this pass for the lead.
Haley Turner slow out of 2. I think he had an issue.
second driver we've seen have some issues there. Ooh, I think he had some contact.
Watch the 51 come across the road, and a little tag there sent Bailey for a slide.
That is rough. That transition catches off a lot of people, and it's so hard to save it. Made it look easy, and he's still continuing on in 12th.
Look at Cabot.
Yeah, he hasn't tapered off quite yet. We thought he did, but might have been just backing off a little bit, trying to preserve the tires some. He's definitely done it nicely if he has. He's still inside the contention for the lead. He's at the back mark of it though, so still in the fight.
Seth Knoll now, who was on the attack and is now falling back into the clutches of Jake Nichols. And what I'm seeing a lot is ebbing and flowing, and we're down about 1.2 seconds. I know it's not as much as we're going to see Tuesday and Thursday, but 1.2 seconds in a next-gen car is a lot. So, you know, we're seeing drivers that are conserving more last longer, and I think Seth saved some and then used it up. Look at Connor Horn 3 wide.
He got a fantastic run out of turn 2. He's going to try to squeeze the inside of Groner. Groner had to pull in behind Ricky Springer, otherwise he would have hooked 51. These guys fighting hard here for position, and Connor Horn looks like it's now his time, he feels, to charge near the front.
Well, what's going on back here? This is a little...
It's a good question.
Turner trying to stop the bleeding a bit. Greg Mitchell and Peyton Howell trying to find a way around it.
Yeah, and Rickardo got a little bit loose when he was trying to slow it down on the front straightaway. Greg Mitchell to the inside, and here comes a freight train up on top.
Oh, wow. Yeah, look at Peyton Howell try to, well, he's going to have to keep it out of the wall. That's about as high as she can run in 3 and 4 without hitting it. But look at the run he gets. It pays off.
All the while, James Scioli, he's got a hornet's nest behind him too, between Springer, Groner, Horn. Connor Horn's moving up in the world too, and Connor is such an analytical driver in how he approaches these races. He'll know exactly where he should be placing the car, how much he needs to save, when he can be aggressive. And so he's playing this smart right now. Started off kind of slow, started 10th, come back a little ways, but here he is now starting to push late in the run. And I think this is the time where he's going to make up some ground, as long as he's got the pace to continue to move forward.
And further back 3 wide for a second between Howell, Okrezik, and Mitchell. And Mitchell and Okrezik almost doored each other off at turn 4. Almost resulted in them spinning out. And everyone's trying to fight really hard for positions in the middle of this run.
And we're almost 40 laps in, about 1.3 to 1.4 seconds of fall off from the start of the race to now. And even then, it's still the 54 at Matheson leading the way. Nichols has closed in for second. Meanwhile, the 07 and the 1 have tapered off. They've kind of been reeled in by the clutches of Scioli and company behind.
Springer might have just gotten the wall in the entry to 1. And Scioli up underneath him. It's really easy to do that here, where the safer barrier juts out from the concrete wall. And if you're not paying attention, you can just slap it on entry. It shouldn't hurt him, and he didn't lose a lot of ground, but if you do that too much, it'll start to knock in those panels and make them cattywampus.
Yeah, especially also got to worry about the axle. This car is so sensitive with the tires. Just a little bit of damage goes a long way as far as ruining a race. So we definitely want to be mindful of that. Slapping the concrete. Let's continue off into turn 1. Springer up on top. Connor Horn looking through the middle. Scioli on the bottom, and I think it's pushed back to 7th place. And I'm wondering if this push that we saw with Scioli early on is now starting to kind of bite him.
I think it is a little bit. This is big drama back here. 30 of Miller. He's a couple laps down by virtue of that drive-through penalty he had. A little physical.
Miller got loose off the corner. Peyton Howell, he was in the wall not too many laps ago off one of the corners. And Mitchell just kind of stuck in between everyone.
Howell's in the wall.
Yeah, just scraped it. Got out of it without too much drama as well. Sometimes when you get up into that fence, it just sticks to it, and you put a bunch of wheel in it.
Whoa. Guy behind him pounded the wall hard. Not sure who.
McKinney.
Yeah, Blaze McKinney. He hit it pretty good.
Yeah, this is what you worry about, is you get it too much. Right there, big tank slapper, and
in the concrete.
And that's going to cost him. That, if I was him, that would be something I would like to pit for. I don't know that I want to drive around for 30 laps with that. Just commit to making it a 2-stopper, you know?
I'm curious to see if we see anyone try to do that, or if everyone feels they've saved enough fuel to go all the way.
Maybe lap 45. might be the earliest.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
Mathematically, that makes some sense. Pit at lap 45 and 90. Got a 50-lap run to the end.
Where Nichols backing way off now on the fuel.
That's the other thing. Is that what the 7 is doing as well? I mean, not knowing that he burned up his tires, is he pivoting to save some fuel, or is he going the opposite direction?
And part of it feels like he's just throwing the Hail Mary with him having the disadvantage in track position, because we always have the saying, you're not going to win by copying what everyone else is doing, especially with him being the lowest of the championship four. He might have to throw something out the window and hope it sticks, and that might be it. Maybe trying to do a two-stop strategy. Sorry, because the fall-off is pretty good. Now we're looking at just about almost. We were just looking about a second and a half.
Whoa, Ricky Springer going for a ride. This is what we talked about. I mean, we have seen some time fall off, but the handling fall off feels so much worse. It feels like you've got Brett Flintstone wheels underneath you.
And that's the other part of the argument as well, is because with everyone else's handling falling off, the chance of a caution rise as well. So do you want to risk that coming in for that extra pit stop, or just stick it out and just hope for the caution coming out by someone else making a mistake? A lot of factors considered.
Yeah, also important to note, 24 degrees of banking through the turns. Going to be interesting for these guys to get her woe down. I mean, you do have a pretty wide entry, but the margin for error are very slim whenever you're going from 24 all the way down to about 0.
Springer's in the middle of a 3-wide scenario again. Jonathan Oates on the bottom. I don't feel like we've talked about Oates a lot as of late. And he started 14 races, and he has had a pretty good season, but it started a lot better than it has been as of late. His top 10 last week at Kansas was the first top 10 he had had since September 22nd at Indy. Prior to that, it was August 25th at Darlington. And then prior to that, he hadn't finished anywhere but the top 10 except for Daytona, Texas and Charlotte, rather. So it's just been a weird season where all of Jonathan's luck was up front.
Yeah, and he earlier on in the season, I think he was definitely in the conversation as far as making it into the playoffs, and then unfortunately he just really, really struggled in the middle part of the season, and that kind of pushed him further and further out of the points. So unfortunately, you couldn't see him here this season. Maybe next season he might end up making a postseason appearance. Definitely a lot of speed in that 45. When he gets it done, he can perform really well as he works around the one of Seth Knoll, who is now starting to drop back. So Knoll back in 8th, Scully back in 9th, and then Nichols back in 5th.
Peyton Howell on pit lane.
Okay, so yeah, and I think what we're seeing, I think a lot of Solar Flare guys, they're starting to go into like an ultra fuel
conservation.
Thank you. Couldn't think of the word there for a second. Fuel conservation mode. Well, Matheson's kind of continuing out there. He's saving fuel, but nowhere near as extreme as the rest of them.
I think lap 70 feels like a hard number to make. The 5 Garrett Grant also pulls off. Needs a couple laps down, but 70 seems hard. But if you can make it work and not give up a ton of time in the process, then it seems like a strategy to pull. We don't have a lot of fall off here, so it's not like you're going to pull some magic overcut or undercut like you could at like a Darlington, for example.
Yeah, that's the thing I think it's going to come down to, is that you need to kind of pull some sort of overcut. Anything that gives you some sort of advantage making the pass, because we've seen it's extremely hard to pass for the lead. Matheson's been stuck there for a majority of this race.
Still focused, and oh, wow. You can hear how early he let off the gas heading into the turn, just trying to save as much fuel as he can. Might allow the 07 to get along by and possibly pass him for the lead. I'm sure he wouldn't mind that, not chasing the championship. Neither is the 42 or the 11 for the next in line.
A lot of coasting happening. 100. Make that 90 laps to go next time by.
I just want to hear when he lets off on the front stretch. Okay. I thought it was way earlier when we went on board with him a lap ago.
He is doing quite a bit earlier, and now he's actually going to lose the lead here, I think, to Adam Cabot.
What are Cabot's motivations? If you're just trying to win the race, what strategy are you doing? Are you going to pit now, or are you going to try to stretch this extra 20 laps?
Honestly, if I'm these guys they're not competing for the championship, I'm going to just throw the Hail Mary, maybe attempt a two-stop strategy. Just see how it works out, because you really got nothing to lose.
And you get to be aggressive the whole time.
Yeah. Connor Horn now in third, Phil growing up to fourth, Nichols in fifth. Seth Knoll dropping back to 10th.
Yeah, this is what I worry about, Hunter, for Jake Matheson, is that the Solar Flare guys, they have the collective minds of an entire team working together right now in this exact scenario that are all competing for the title. So they're going to be working together. I'm sure that Jake's teammates are doing the same with him, but Jake is way out front. The Solar Flare cars are saving fuel, gaining an advantage, maybe not a track position one, but a strategic advantage.
Yeah, I think track position might be a little more effective here. I mean, definitely going to have the car to go in the long run, but again, if you're that leader and anyone gets near you, if they try to pass you on the inside, you just go to the outside lane and that can be that. We've already seen it enough today where the run on the outside is just too strong to overcome if you're on the bottom or even in the middle lane. So it will be interesting to see how they play this out. They're side by side for 9th and for 7th.
Krezek, pit lane.
Oh, or not.
Or gone. Carry on.
Gone fishing.
Yeah, a couple of drivers have trickled on down to pit lane, notably Peyton Howell, Matthew Bell, Garrett Grant have all made pit stops.
Oh, might get tight here.
Yeah, five's on pressure tires, remember. This is going to be a tight squeeze. Woo-hoo.
So Garrett Grant feeling like Superman climbing up through the field. He is 2 laps down, though. I think he was one of the drivers that had EOL.
Yes, he had a drive-through, I think.
Oh, drive-through, yes.
Yeah. Really liking the 609 cars as well, with their strategy and their pace at this stage in the race. I don't know what their fuel economy looks like.
At the moment. Thing,
Whoa, the ground was a little loose.
15 laps from halfway. What does the tank say? Can you make it to lap 70?
Yeah, got 15 more laps or so to make it on through. There's Peyton Howell working on.
Ben Pierce, the next driver to bite. He's on pit lane.
oh, Philip Groner went all the way up top.
Jake Matheson still leading. Connor Horn just ran the fastest lap of the top 15 right now, so he's on a tear even late in the run. What is he doing for fuel saving? Let's ride on board with the 42 for a lap. Saving fuel, and a lot of it, deep into the corner.
I'd be really entertained to see if Matheson's able to make it on fuel, because that means that he somehow managed to keep up the pace and save fuel. And he's iked out a 2.5-second gap between himself and second place in the championship running, Jake Nichols.
It was interesting to know when Horn laid off to save or coast rather through the turn. Right when he got up to the beginning of that safer barrier in turn 3, that's when he let off, and then by the time the grandstands were away in turn 3, when he got back on the gas. It's important to have your pinpoints of when and where you're going to let off and save.
Jake Matheson has led 51 laps of this race. The remainder led by Cabot in that 0-7. Look at the last lap time as well. It gives you an idea of Matheson 2/10 quicker than basically everybody behind other than Seth Knoll.
Yeah, for Matheson too, speaking of which, for him last season, 6 wins to his name, was very much having the same season that Seth Knoll was having, the same wins coming in. And again, just missed out. Arguably, he should have won the championship. Again, just had that disconnect at the last second in this race. And he's doing everything in his power to make sure he can walk away with it and get the championship he felt like he deserved last season.
Also important to note, there hasn't been a yellow yet, knock on wood if you have some, but there was a wreck where they collected Connor Horn, a championship contender, and so far we haven't seen any of that yet. We're close to halfway, so still clean and green for the time being.
I think this is the way that this track is going to race, at least with these cars. I don't know about tomorrow and Thursday. I think Thursday will go pretty green, but I think you plan on this race going long, and that's why these drivers feel comfortable doing this one-stop strategy and feel comfortable saving the fuel, because they don't feel like they're going to get burned with a yellow flag. Now, they certainly could, as we saw here in the past.
I just saw Nichols get wicked loose off turn 2. You may want to catch a replay of that.
There's Jake Nichols, the 73. What do we see?
See the back end step out.
Oh, boy.
Right in there.
Yep.
He made it look easy.
Flag of the dog's tail there for a second.
Guys are officially running about 2 seconds off their pace. Granted, part of that's due to them having to save fuel.
Still, even at this part of the run, I'm looking at, we got takers?
One is really slowing down. Thought he was going to head to pit lane, but that wouldn't make sense. Still 7 laps shy.
And speaking of heading to pit lane, I hope these guys practice getting down to pit lane.
Getting in or getting out?
Both. And getting into your stall, because we've seen races won and lost on pit road from drivers making mistakes. And I would imagine for all 4 of these drivers, they would have practiced ahead of time, but and you see them easily getting caught off, the transition off the banking that catches a lot of people out, speeding, sliding through pit stop. All these little things count, especially under green flag pit stop. So you make a mistake now, it could cost you a championship.
Things that you better have tested in practice. You don't want to beat yourself. If someone else beats you, at least you can look and say that they had a better day than you. But if you beat yourself, you will always look back at that moment and wish you'd done something differently. So who's going to break? We have 23 cars that are still on the racetrack. I think making lap 70 is very doable at this stage. I mean, otherwise we would have seen more drivers start to peel out.
It's been a slow trickle on a pit lane, only for a couple of drivers that are attempting a two-stop race, but everyone else seems to be going the distance and trying to save some fuel. Notably, the Jake Nichols, the gap between himself and Matheson is about 2.5 seconds, now down to 1.5 seconds in closing in. So Nichols has picked up the pace. Matheson slowed down a little bit more. Makes you worried for the 54. I think the 73 is a little bit more confident on his fuel situation. The 1 and the 7, they're still kind of saving at the same rate. Ricky Springer diving off the pit lane, so he's not going to be able to make the distance.
Teammates to the 54 as well, so you have to wonder, is Matheson more conservative than the 51?
So Adam Cabot calling on the radio. He's coming down to pit lane.
Ooh, I don't like this.
And Blaze McKinney also coming down. So a couple of drivers are starting to call down to pit road. They're starting to run out. With 5 laps left to go till halfway. So that's showing the gap that you needed to save early.
Matheson really deep into the corner, saving fuel.
I was going to say, I think he's more conservative right now than his teammate Ricky Springer. Again, he is chasing for a championship, so gotta be precaution. And I mean, even with saving fuel, he's still putting up good pace and still gapping guys by a little bit. So why change anything that you're doing now?
So much save going on in this car, more than was going on before. This is when you know the drivers didn't really realize how bad it was going to be. Off the fuel at the turning point and back on it pretty much in the center of the turn.
Greg Mitchell coming down to pit road this time by 11 of Phil Groner as well. And Bryce Senizak, so more each lap.
If you get to lap 69, which is this coming lap, if you get here, I'm pretty confident that you can make it, because these drivers have been saving some fuel, and for some of them, a lot of fuel.
Oh, Philip Groner, too fast entering.
Oh, there goes his
by
day.
a long shot or by a long mile?
Are all miles the same length?
into the country mile. Yeah, he came in flying at 65 miles an hour out the cone.
Oh.
Still have about 60% of our drivers that still have not hit pit lane. Next time by is halfway, so if you do exactly the same thing.
Oh, Nichols down. Oh, he came in hot. He behaved himself though.
That's right. That's basically a lap before halfway, so he will have to save a tiny bit more if he couldn't. He might have been at like 0.8 laps and realized he wasn't going to get there. So,
I am just surprised because Matheson, felt like was the worst off, but it looks like he timed it perfectly. And I imagine he's going to be coming down this time by.
This time. And he's going to bring in pretty much everybody. Connor Horn stays out.
Oh, interesting. Connor Horn trying to take the overcut, it seems. I think if he can't, Seth Knoll staying out.
Holy cannoli. Scioli had a low exit. Or a low entry on the pit road, I should say.
This is good for the one. Get that extra lap. Prove that you can save another mile and a half less fuel than everybody else on this next run. That was about a half a dozen cars on pit lane. There's only about a half a dozen left to go. Less than that.
I think Seth Knoll did give up quite a bit of time to save that extra lap of fuel. Is going to be matter. Can he come back? Oh, he heads down. Oh, he came in kind of fast. I don't see a black flag. He got away with it.
Oof. Peyton Howell is the first driver on the two-stop strategy. He is 24 laps into his run, and he will take the lead temporarily. Now, this lead will exist likely for about 20 to 25 laps, and this would be one of those scenarios where he wouldn't mind a yellow flag in about 15 laps, prompt everyone to come back down to pit lane where he can keep his track position.
Wow, there are a couple guys on hypermile this. Douglas Newing, Seth Berger, Reese Schaefer, they still yet to come in.
I don't know that there's a lot of value in going too much further, so Douglas comes on down. Seth Berger is still on the road, and I think he's the last holdout. Schaefer as well.
Oh, Dick Matheson already in fuel-saving mode. Jake Nichols already on fuel-saving mode.
There's the one. Seth Knoll, P17 at the moment, going back around the race leader, unlapping himself. But Seth Knoll is done pitting. The 52 still owes us a pit stop. So now it's just a matter of, can Peyton Howell keep this advantage, hit, and have enough speed to run the one back down when he's on old tires? That's really the math question that all the two stoppers are asking themselves. And there's not that many of them. I think there's what? We got 1, 2, 3, 4.
Three. I think only 3.
Ben Pierce, Ed Robertson, Peyton Howell, and Garrett Grant, technically.
Yes. But I think Peyton Howell's pretty much the best, really the only driver that's competitively up near the front. I think the only one that can really pull it off.
Yeah, I'd say that you're right about that. Berger and Schaefer are still going. Now they're coming to pit lane. 74 laps on that amount of fuel.
Yeah, call them down to inspection. Check the fuel line.
Yeah, but now they can save 4 laps less this next time. So that, I don't know that it's going to win them the race, but it might gain them a few spots.
It definitely can. It very, very much could come down to that.
Saving less.
Dick Nichols, hear him clutching it in. Jake Matheson as well.
You know, they could be just waiting on a yellow to come out too and get caught in the right situation.
So of the drivers that are on the one-stop strategy, Adam Cabot is actually the one that cycled to the front by virtue of a 4-lap undercut over Jake Matheson. But how long will that last? And how much fuel can he save? He was pretty good, but he was one of those that came in a few laps prior to the halfway point, so he's going to have to save more this time around.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to come back in. I feel like he pitted way too early for it to be in the realm of possibility. Because think about it, if he was 5 laps short, he's got to save not only those 5 laps, plus another 5 laps that he would have had to save the second run. So he would have to save a lot. I think he's just going to come down and do a splash and go and be on his way. It's going to cost him a lot of time. I think at this point he might just be hoping for a caution to come out.
Jake Matheson, the next driver on that strategy, Ricky Springer, then Jake Nichols. Ooh, the 64 is in the fence. How did the one end up so far back?
Remember, he stayed out that extra lap, so he's on the slower tires. That was almost an extra 2 seconds that he lost. Yeah, he's probably 6 seconds behind Jake Matheson, so that's a lot of makeup. He's got to get around James Scaglioli. He does have that extra lap of fuel that he can carry. That can mean a lot coming to the end of this race, so he's trying to get around James Scaglioli at the moment. Scaglioli is kind of, his situation is not looking good, because at least Noel has a slight tire advantage and fuel advantage. Scaglioli has none of that.
Yeah, this has been a tough night for Scaglioli, really from the very beginning, kind of fighting from the bottom with that qualifying effort. And all season long, we said qualifying is important. You know, at some tracks more than others, but on a championship night, you have to show up and lay down a good lap. It just, the aggressive drive he had to put on early was impressive, but it just used up his equipment, and he never got to the pointy end. Even though he had pace to do so, he didn't have time to get there before he burned his stuff up, and now he's just been on the back foot all night long. He needed a yellow to reset, and he might not get one.
Especially in a series that's known for having some pretty good green flag racing, especially in the Cup Series, so you could expect the race to potentially go green nearly the entire distance. Seth Knoll has worked on Pat, so now he's set his sights on Nichols and Matheson up the road. He's making some inroads. He's still around 6 seconds behind.
I mean, nonetheless, this has still been a fun race to look at for everyone involved, including the Championship 4 contenders, which Matheson's still leading the way, but a few guys DNF, Mason Kane, Matthew Bell, and Connor O'Krezig all called it a night early when we still have 18 cars on the lead lap.
59 laps to go. We'll take a brief moment in the post-pit stop calm to thank our replay sponsor. We haven't got a lot of action out of the replays tonight, but that's Hendry County Motorsports Park. Racing is back at the Hendry County Motorsports Park. Join them on December 5th through 7th to see factory stocks, Crucial 8 models, street stocks, and more. Tickets are $15 for adults with discounted prices for seniors, teens, and kids ages 5 and under are free. Come see racing at the southernmost dirt track in America, located in Clewiston, Florida, off US Highway 27. Visit henryracing.com for more information. And Elite Entertainment, you can add some life to the party this winter with Elite Entertainment, located in Boiling Springs, South Carolina. Elite Entertainment provides high-quality band production to entertain at any location, including karaoke, singo, and more. Visit Linktree/Elite Entertainment LLC for all contact information. The laps clicking away here, and thus championship opportunity for anybody not named Jake Matheson. He's got the upper hand here in a number of ways. Track position and time is on his side here, I think, as well.
He definitely is. I think he's trying to ride. He's currently in behind Adam Cabot, Ricky Springer. I think he's just going to kind of ride him behind them, not have to push the envelope. Yeah, I think that's one advantage he has. Nichols is by himself, and he's got to push. It's all or nothing for him. Matheson is just a matter of making sure he hits his fuel numbers, save some fuel on this run, or as much as he can in the early part of this run, and then he can push to the end come Nichols and potentially Seth Knoll coming back on rebound.
Abbott up on the high lane there, making some time. A little quicker than Springer, quicker than Matheson. He's about to, it's 13 seconds back from Peyton Howell. I'd expect Peyton can make it to the end from here, obviously, when he pits, but you're probably going to want to spread his runs out to be a little bit more even. So right now he's got 37 laps on his tires out front, and we've got 55 to go. So give him another 5-10 laps, and that's when we'll see that 52 hit pit lane.
Yeah, he's going to come in pit, and he can get back out there and push. He doesn't have to worry about fuel saving. Will have advantage for the tires. Do I think it'll win in the race? Maybe not, but he might end up finishing well. Should have remained green.
Still surprised that the gap hasn't gone down significantly, but then again, these guys that pitted later is trying to save more fuel so they don't have to pit again. I think the possibility for a yellow has gone down significantly, but it's still there. So Howell, Cabot, Springer, if the caution comes out, these guys are in good position to possibly win the last race of the season.
Yeah, I think a yellow would really help Cabot because remember he's got that fuel tank that's a little emptier than everybody else. He'd love a reset. But on the same strategy.
Cabot and Ricky Springer were both on a caution to come out.
Yep.
Uh-oh, I think we might have just lost Greg Mitchell. Yeah.
Jonathan Oates and Skyly, these two have been side by side a couple of times tonight.
I'm sure Skyly would not like to be side by side with Jonathan Oates, rather be side by side with his competitors.
I've got places to be, sir.
Meanwhile, Jonathan Oates saying bye. See you later. 45 is moving up. He's actually pushing a little bit quicker here than some of the other guys around him. Trying to catch up with Seth, Blaze McKinney, Connor Moore, Michael Curran is in that next group. Actually, it's a group being led by Jake Nichols at the moment.
It's getting pretty spicy back here. Watch the 42 and 24. He's not waiting around. 3 wide out of 2.
I was going to say, it's actually not really necessarily being led by Jake Nichols, more being held up by Jake Nichols. They've all caught up to the 73, and he's trying to save fuel. But these guys have places to be because they don't care about championship. They don't care about a good points day. And there goes Connor Horn. He'll go on through, and I think he'll bring Michael Curran, Blaze McKinney as well.
Yeah, even though Nichols and Noel are contending for the championship, these guys, again, they still want to go out on a high note, see if they can get a top 5 finish like Connor Horn. He just moved up to 5th, McKinney Curran, 7th and 8th, and then even in the back, Ben Pierce fighting for a top 10.
Pierce, we hadn't really talked about him a lot tonight. He's kind of in a weird in-between middle ground here as far as strategy. 33 laps on his tires. Started 30th, so running P10's not so bad at this stage. Probably would also like a yellow to get him back on strategy with everybody else.
Let's continue to chug along out there. With Connor Horn, 73 all over the back of him. And I think Nichols was kind of hoping to ride off with his coattails and try to catch back up to Matheson, who's about 3 seconds up the road.
Yeah, it's just another speed bump for Nichols to overcome as he tries to become a 4-time champion in the Area Cup Series, and kind of solid showing so far, but hasn't been able to work his way around that 54 quite yet. Although Matheson has been the dominant car as far as laps led, it's still Payne Howell leading the way, and the gap between him and Cabot diminishing quickly.
I'm really surprised at the one tonight. I thought he would be a bigger force at the front, especially given the pace he had qualifying.
He would have if you didn't pick him.
I know. Every time. Every time. I've just been cursed this season with picks.
He's going to be mad at you that you picked him.
I know. But, I mean...
Well, he's going to be looking good here. He's looking to the outside of the 73 Nichols, and he's finally caught up to him. He's been chasing him down.
I'm just going to look like a genius if he wins, by the way, so... Heads up. And I did hear that Curhan did adjust the championship format so that it's winner take all.
Oh, did he now?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, wow.
He DM'd me earlier.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. And as
I'm
the founding member of SimTV, I am the one that gets to make the decisions. Because it was definitely solely me and only me that started SimTV.
Yeah, so it wasn't you.
Everyone knows that I completely started it myself with no other input from anybody.
Yeah, you clearly didn't call it a stupid idea. It was initially pitched to you.
Yeah, I was definitely the one that was on Reddit and saw the post. And it was definitely me, guys.
I'm a one-man show.
Laps clicking down. Payne Howell's advantage, 7 seconds. 46 laps of fuel used, 46 laps of racing to go. If I'm Payne Howell, I pit next time by.
I'm surprised he didn't pit, actually.
Well, I think he's got cars too far up the rectum to consider doing that this time by.
Fair enough. Pfeiffer and Garrett ran on by, but yeah, I think you should come down the next lap or two.
Maximize your tire life.
Yeah, he'll have a good stint to the finish if he plays his cars right.
Still running pretty high on the racetrack, and he's got the 5. Again, I wouldn't try to run this super long. You don't have, again, your advantage isn't enormous, so the longer you stay out, the less time you have. I think you need time. Maybe he'll just run this out and hope for a yellow, but I don't think that's the way to play this.
No, definitely not. I think he has a decent strategy. But I hear him on the radio. He is coming down this time by.
Okay.
Let's go back and checking Jake Matheson. He is coasting through majority of turn 1. And I wonder if he's just trying to save fuel while he can.
Yeah, and why not, right? You've got a huge advantage over the solar flare cars, a couple of seconds worth. You might as well use it up and gain a fuel advantage so that when they fire things up late in the race, you're not caught with your pants down. Ricky Springer on pit lane.
Coming on down, he needed to make one more stop, so he decided to come in early. And then use the fresher tires to his advantage to run to the end.
That was wise, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, Cabot might try something similar here.
Yeah, that would be interesting, because if this does go green to the end, he's obviously not going to need to have the urge to save fuel, so should be fun to watch him rise through the rankings again.
'73 and 1. Teammates off into turn 1. Michael Curhan in the mix. He wants an interview. Got a couple more positions to make up. Oates is one of them.
Oates fighting pretty hard here to get up near the top. He's been on a charge. Looking to the outside of 2 championship competitors, 73 of Jake Nichols and the 1 of Seth Knoll.
Well, they are in the thick of it. Everybody knows.
Oh, James Scully is down on pit road.
That was unexpected, but honestly, I don't hate this call. You weren't going to win doing what everyone else was doing, so this is his pivot.
I guess so.
I mean, what choice do you have? If the yellow comes out now, you're just good to go.
Huh.
He wasn't going to win otherwise. Why not?
That's true.
That is definitely true, so we'll see how this works out. I do feel like he should have committed to a two-stop strategy a little bit early in the race, but see if he can prove me wrong.
Peyton Howell is running 1.1 seconds quicker than Jake Matheson right now. And Peyton Howell is on the lead lap.
He just got passed by Adam Cadd, and Matheson quickly worked back around him, so he's going to set the timing charts ablaze.
Said you can't have pack racing here. I feel like this is the current Atlanta that we're at right now. We still have some super speedway racing. I mean, it's not far off from what we get in real life anyway.
I feel like quite a bit of this is due to people trying to save fuel as well.
After you, sir. No, after you.
I want to be in front. I'm trying to save gas here.
No tires, just gas.
Noel has stopped clutching it in. Actually, I don't think he was ever clutching it in, but he seems to be off of it. Matheson, I'm wondering if he's doing the same.
I think he's still doing the same. He's still about 8 tenths back from Cabot, and the gap between him and Noel is closed down a little bit.
Yeah, Matheson is still clutching it in. Noel and Nichols not.
Turn 3. About 20 minutes of racing to go. We'll know our champion around then. The 7 of Scioli changing to pivot to a 2-stop strategy to try to salvage something. The other 3 cars all in the top 6 at the moment with alternate strategies around them that should filter out in the next 37 laps. Well, we've got a moment. Check out the High Banks podcast. Just 2 blue-collar guys, Nick and Alex, talking about NASCAR and more. Listen to episode 205 with Brad Slaughter and episode 207 with Jacob Bell, available on Spotify. And also make sure you check out rickshotsauce.com because these spicy battles are just like Rick's Hot Sauce. Make sure you follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle. And who's leading that right now, Hunter? Who we got leading the Rookie of the Year fight?
I think it's Peyton Howell.
Oh, that checks out.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds about right.
But they got Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, and South Beach Heat. Try those things out. Palm Beach Pineapple still seems like my vibe.
I think I like the Golden Garlic. From what I remember. It's been a while. I should open up my bottles. I think 1 or 2 of them I haven't opened up at all since I got them.
I like that. I like that South Beach heat.
Actually, no, it might have been the South Beach heat that I like. I have to try it.
35 to go next time by. Cabot leads the way. What do you do if you're Cabot? I mean, you're sort of trapped here, right? Do you just run this out and then grab that splash and go like you were saying, Finney?
I guess he's going to just run it out until I think he gets past, which actually may not be him too long down the road because Matheson has caught up to him. I think he's trying to take full precaution, but I just don't feel like a caution's going to come out. Everyone's really separated on the racetrack. The most they've been since the drop of the green flag.
I don't think he pits even if he gets passed by the 54. I think he just chooses to run it out, and if you finish the second, you finish the second. I mean, it's too far. You're too far deep into it now to where if you pit, you're going to be trapped a lap down. You're going to fight to try and get that lap back, and if you rally to 10th or 9th, it's not going to be near.
Well, there's always just the tiny bit of hope you can carry about a late race yellow when things get really spicy, especially that battle for fourth that we've been watching. If something were to pop off, you're in a great position because I don't know that you'd want to stay out on old tires. Maybe if you're at lap 135 you would, but at lap 120 things are different. And if we get green-white checkers, everyone's in trouble.
That'll be, I think, a little bit too spicy for the championship for it.
Yeah, maybe. Tell you, Jake Matheson, though, has been the dominant, I mean, at least been the leading driver tonight. 62 laps led. It would be a real disappointment, I think, at this stage if he did not come through, especially how he lost the championship last year. But Seth Knoll with 6 wins on the season. Boy, that would sting.
That would really sting. So close and yet so far for him. Up ahead. James Scully working through traffic 3 wide past the leaders.
Speaking
that
of
could have been disastrous.
Potential for yellows. Might happen right up front. I think the 51 just got in the fence.
Ricky Springer also working on through. He came down pit lane not too long ago. And for the lead,
that 07 was, he was wiggling through too, just trying to keep the car straight, but Matheson playing this big because he's not trying to get around the 07, just trying to save fuel running behind. And as soon as I say that, of course, he goes low, trying to take the lead away. That's what Nichols and Knoll have been doing. They've just been riding the coattails of Connor Horn, Jonathan Oates. They've just been doing that, trying to preserve as much fuel as they can while also catching the leader.
Way up on that outside wall is Cabot. He's going to fight this, but he doesn't have enough speed to do much about it. Next time by, 30 laps to go. Winding this down, and Jake Matheson's advantage over the next playoff competitor is 1.7 seconds. That's Jake Nichols.
Actually, speaking of Nichols, he's back in fuel saving mode. I heard him clutching it in turn 1 of a lap ago. Knoll doesn't look like he's saving. He might just be backing off a little bit, might not be pushing too hard. Saving something for the end here. Laps are winding down. Less than 30 laps left in the season.
ATO just crashed on me.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, what is time and scoring?
Good question.
We've gone back in time.
Oh, hang tight.
This is in Darlington.
Do you remember that stupid little time warp intro I did that one time?
You really love that intro. I'm surprised you call it
I loved it in 2019 when I thought I was cool. But looking back, I was like, wow, this is terrible.
I mean, now you're on actual professional broadcast, so I guess your standards have risen quite a bit.
I would not let that fly in this day and age. All right, let's connect back to the graphics, and here's our update. Whoa, big slides there for the 73.
Yeah, riding on the bottom, the tires are really not having any of it 40 laps into the run. And Pete now, keeping tabs on him, he's still working through the field. He's actually higher than he was when he came into the pits, which was he was running around 13th when he first came into pit. Now up to 12th and catching still at just over a second a lap.
All right, so the one thing I'm not stoked about is now I lost all my stint information, so that's not going to be very helpful for me.
Hey man, these guys have been able to push the fuel all 113 laps from what this is saying.
I still have it at least.
One
And
man
nobody's made a pit stop.
Average pace of 2,013 miles an hour. All right, so 1 laps down. Does anybody have anything for Matheson? He's got track position. He's got fuel.
And he's got the speed at the moment.
And he's got the speed. I mean, is Matheson just going to walk away with this?
Might seem like it, unless someone's arm gets itchy or a caution comes out. Either or.
No, don't hit that button.
It's all the Carter Coupe. But yeah, Nichols and no, I'm not sure they're saving or anything, but they just don't seem to have the pace or the fuel to really catch back up to the 54.
Can't tell if he looks stressed or calm. I mean, he's got a good poker face.
That's the same face he had when we checked in on him about 50 laps into this race.
Yeah.
But they're running similar lap times, all three of the championship contenders.
I hate to tell you this, but if you're on the same lap time and you're 2 seconds back, that doesn't mean you're going to catch him. Got to speed up. Gas pedal harder.
Just go faster.
Just a circle, guys.
Yeah, he's been having a really good run, looking to get around Nichols here.
He's guaranteed a top 5, presuming he can hang on, and Cabot has to bail.
Cool. Nichols slipping back a little bit. Ben Pierce working on the bottom. Oates maybe think him 3 wide.
No, I don't think he will. Don't want to push an envelope.
Thought better of that. That's the extra little bit of respect you get as a Championship 4 competitor. Is drivers around you, they'll see the blue highlights and they'll say, all right, fine, have it. Oh, it's way up the hill.
It's like that scene from SpongeBob. Great. Now let him have it. You can have it.
Nick Matheson leads this race. 33 flat last time by. That was 0.2 of a second quicker than Jake Nichols. What is the 54 doing as far as fuel saving? He's got the thing shut off all the way down to 300 RPM.
Now, I wonder if he may have gassed it up trying to separate the gap, because at one point Nichols was within a half a second, and then he started to trail it back out. I wonder if he's trying to build up a little bit more of a gap. Because Nichols and Noel are now back to not saving it, so they've been kind of doing an ebb and flow, I guess, depending on how close they are to hitting their numbers. But Matheson timed it out really good on the first stint, so I have a feeling he's going to do this pretty well in the second stint.
Yeah, he's been doing a phenomenal job of just preserving the fuel, when and where to go in and out of the clutch, and also keeping that gap the same.
Lap 120 of 140. It all comes down to these next 20 laps. It's been a fuel economy race since lap 1. These things do not get very good fuel economy. This is like taking your Camry on I-90 with the fuel light already on and just hypermiling. It's not very fun at 60. It's really not fun at 160. But this is the way to win this race tonight. The leaders have determined. Jake Nichols slowed it down a lot. Lap time 0.6 slower than Jake Matheson.
Yeah, and also mentioning too, the track time 128 degrees as well, so it's a bit slick out there. So when they get back on the throttle, have to modulate then. Be careful with it, otherwise you can spin the thing out. We've seen Jake Nichols, who's right on board with him, boost a couple times out of the corners. So it takes fine foot to get yourself around here and save fuel and not wreck.
Yeah, gap only going up about 3 seconds now between the 54 and Jake Nichols, Seth Knoll, 5th and 6th on the board. And then the other championship contender, James Skyle, he mentioned he pitted. He's up to 15th now. Had to try something different. Wasn't going to catch him with what he was doing, so had to throw a little curveball in there. He's 15th at the moment.
Yeah, Peyton Howell might get a top, well, he probably will get a top 10 out of this, which I think was an improvement on the strategy that he was doing, so I would say that it worked. So you have to go back and look at the 7 and say, hey, had he tried this while he was running in the top 6, he might have at least had a shot, but he waited too long to pivot.
That's what I was kind of thinking the entire time. That's what I was saying. He should have thought about doing this early on in the race, just because he was the last running the lowest of all 4 of them. So I needed to try to do something, and like I said, I think just went a little bit too late on the gun, because Howell was looking to finish a couple spots up from where he was, and had he been further up the order, like where where James Scully was and had the pace, I think he would have finished better. But we'll see. Still a lot of things can happen in the later going. Looking here as the 173 are side by side for 5th. Michael Curran trying to find a way on through from 7th.
Yeah, I mean, still up for grabs, not only 5th, but 2nd and 3rd in the championship standings as well. So obviously teammates are running 2nd, 3rd, and 4th at the moment, but not sure if they're going to put egos aside or try and, I don't know where that thought was going.
Well, if they can't win it, you might as well battle for 2nd, right?
Correct.
No one remembers who finished 2nd.
Don't want to get too aggressive, though. Don't want to end seasons on a bad note.
Well,
speaking of 2nd, Connor Horns got around his teammate Adam Cabot. Put himself up one more spot. And Adam Cabot, we're still waiting on him. We expect him to come down to pit lane before this race is over.
Seth Knoll to 5th. Now, I wonder, is the 73 saving a bunch to have one last big run forward? Or is he now trying to save a little extra just in case there is some late race drama?
I don't know, because remember, Jake Nichols came in a lap earlier than Jake Matheson, so he's 1 lap less good. He's 2 laps less of the good than Seth Knoll. Knoll's the best on fuel out of the 3 Championship 4 drivers near the front of the field. So, if anything, Seth Knoll should technically be the best of the good. But now he's got to overcome a 4-second gap with his tires wearing out. And I'm not sure where he's standing on fuel, so it's a lot of question marks for him. But I feel like if he was trying to get back up there, he would have started going by now, because 4 seconds is a lot to make up with less than 15 laps to go.
Matheson out in front by 1.8. He's got the ability to back things down. Still running 33.3s. Everyone else behind him is running slower, so he can back it down more. As long as he's certain he can make it to the end on this pace, or even a little slower, he's got this in the bag, but 13 laps is not checkered.
Yeah, he doesn't want to back it up too much, though, in case Knoll and Nichols have been beating, slowing down a little bit more. And of course, I assume that Matheson was going to want to try to win this outright if he can. For Matheson's stats this season, 2 wins to his name, 5 pole positions, including this race.
Yeah, I think the poles are what he has more than for championship contenders. Other than that, it's been Seth Knoll or Jake Nichols that have been better statistically than the 54 and the 7. I mean, still an average finish of 9th throughout the season, so definitely didn't luck his way into this. Just been fast, been consistent. Same with the 73 and the 1. Really, all 4 of these guys have been very consistent throughout the year, put themselves in the right place at the right time, and in a good spot to contend for the championship, although Matheson being the best of those right now with 11 to go.
Peyton Howell got up to 8th. That might be as far as he gets, but I'll say that was a generally pretty good run for him tonight.
Yeah, this strategy worked out really well for him. Jamie Scully, if you're wondering where he is, he's only back to 13th. And he's desperately begging to the racing gods that a caution comes out.
Then what? Doesn't have the track position to do much about it.
Lower it till the end. Don't let off.
Oh, the 73 super sideways off turn 4.
I would say at this stage that things are looking like they're slipping away a little bit for the 73.
Oh, I definitely think so. That gap has not gone down, and it needs to start going down. It's 10 laps. He's got 4 seconds to make up over 10 laps, and he's still got to save just a little bit of fuel, potentially. So I just don't quite see them getting back up there unless something major happens to Matheson. If he runs out or a caution comes out, that's really the big thing on everyone's mind.
Matheson in the 54, 8 laps away from claiming a title, one that he lost last year to Michael Curhan. And tonight he has done everything he needed to do. He led laps, played the strategy right, but he just needs to finish 8 more trips around Atlanta Motor Speedway to lock it down.
And he's in the reverse of James Scally, praying to the racing gods that caution doesn't come out or his internet doesn't bite the bullet again.
Don't manifest it.
Sorry, I read too far in the script. I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say I'm on a different script.
Seven to go. Count him down. Adam Cabot to pit lane. Finally bails. That will jump Peyton Howell up to 7th. And Peyton is actually making some pretty good ground on Seth Knoll as well, but I don't think he's going to get there in time.
No, unless someone runs out of fuel, I think he's up to P7 is going to be where he ends up. But that strategy really worked out well. And I had a feeling it might work out because of the way these guys were saving fuel and the tires were falling off. You can just get out there and just push really, really hard. We saw Peyton Howell really use that to his advantage, so he'll get a solid finishing position.
No cautions in this race. 5 laps to go next time by.
It's battle for 3rd place starting heat up. Oates, Nichols, and Curran. Of course, Nichols is trying to hope for better and brighter things, but I think at this point you might as well try to get a top 3 here.
And Nichols has got nothing left for the championship unless Matheson runs out, so it's not really in his hands anymore.
Hey, we did look at Curran's sign earlier. It said that he wants to try and get a podium finish. He wants to talk to us after the race. He's in a good spot to try and do that.
Yeah, not in a bad spot, I'll say that. He's kind of right where he needs to be. Got 2 positions, the 2 that he needs, right in front of him.
I'm sure he doesn't want to get too risky and accidentally take up a 73. He's stuck in lane trying to figure where to go. He's inside. There goes Adam Cabot on Frencher tires.
4 laps to go.
Did that thing he say was true about the championship standings? As far as us?
He actually answered.
That's absolutely not true.
I just wanted clarification. I didn't want to get my hopes up.
That was totally wrong. Totally not true. Made it up entirely. Especially not true that I'm not winning. So,
yeah, I'm winning. That's why I want to make sure it was true.
oh, little bobble there from the 73. Oh, smoke. So there was smoke from somewhere.
Trying to get.
Might have been Ruben Pucari. He came out of pit lane.
Yeah, could be. 3 laps to go.
Nichols is still trying to save fuel.
Well, how's Matheson doing here? Probably still shutting it down into 3. Oh, not really. I'd say Matheson's good.
I think he sees it. I think what he's trying to do maybe is save it for a burnout. Save a little bit extra.
2 to go. 3 miles left in Area Cup Series' Season 6.
All he has to do is make it back down one more time, and it's going to be official. That we're going to finish this race under green.
It just feels like he's been one step ahead of the competition since the drop of his green flag, whether it's been saving fuel in the first stint, when and where he's made his pit stop, and then even on the second stint, just in case we get that late race caution, he's only a couple of turns away from seeing that white flag.
Well, Jake Matheson has done everything he needed to do tonight, and it's now just 1 lap to go from Atlanta Finian.
Yep, there we go. White flag in the air. It's official. We're going green all the way, and that's probably the second biggest flag that Matheson wanted to see. Just about 1 more mile so he can finish it home for a championship.
A little bit of redemption after last season in which he contended for the championship four, but lagged out due to internet issues. And now Kyle, he's just 2 turns away from becoming an Area Cup Series champion.
Season 5, it was not to be, but Season 6, he's done everything right. He will win the race. He will win the title. Jake Matheson claims the Area Cup Series Season 6 in Atlanta. Jake Nichols will come home in position number 4. Game over. Second place in the title. Seth Knoll, P3. And James Scioli finishes the race 10th and a disappointing 4th in the championship results.
Almost got caught up in a wreck.
And he'll have enough to do another lap. And as Finian suggested, likely enough for a burnout.
Let's see how much that he did manage to save here.
Quite a bit.
Yep, enough. Enough. To win a championship, it seems like you just have to go out and win the race. And it wasn't by a little bit. 140 laps, he led 94 of them, and that was with alternate strategies at play as well. Let's have a look at the race results. What a battle all night long, but it was really the 54 that did the job the best of anybody.
Yeah, did a fantastic job, just executed everything perfectly and went everything his way. Connor Horn finishing solid second place for him. Jonathan Oates rounding out your top 3. Jake Nichols, you saw there at the finish, disappointed in what could have been for him. Near the end, had nothing for the 54. Then Mike McCurran in the 24 and 5th. Seth Knoll, well, one of the best statistically this season. 6 wins to his name. Unfortunately, couldn't bring it home at the end. Peyton Howell in 7th place with his 2-stop strategy. Then Andrew Payne. James Scioli tried the alternate strategy. Didn't work. The lowest of the championship 4 and 9th. And Bryce Senezek rounding every top 10.
Yeah, that moment that Senezek had actually gained a position for Scioli and almost gained a position for Bailey Turner. Just finishes shy of that top 10. Ricky Springer, 12th. Blaze McKinney, Seth Berger, Reese Schaefer in the top 15. And then rounding out the top 20 is Max Service, Adam Cabot with the late race pit stop, Douglas Newbigging, Glenn Pierce, and Tyler Nichols.
And look down the rest of the order here from 21st to 30th. Travis Beckner didn't have the night he was hoping for. Philip Groner, we saw that pit lane speeding penalty cost him. Miller had a drive-through that cost him a bunch of time. Greg Mitchell and Matthew Bell out a little bit earlier with crash damage. Mason Kane, David Weishart, Connor Okresic also out early. Ryan Swan and Weishart actually didn't even take the green. There's your race results. Let's talk to your top 3 first. Jonathan Oates comes home in 3rd place in the number 45 last race of the season. Up and down, mostly down as of late, but 2 top 10s and a top 5 to round out your tail end of the season. Take us through it.
The race or the season?
Yes.
Well, all right. The season started out pretty bad. Not making Daytona, probably not a good way to start out. And then I had to miss a couple races here and there just because of the plans and whatnot. But, we hit our stride a little bit there in the middle of the season. Honestly, I'm pretty happy. I think I showed that I'm fast enough to compete for good finishes and wins in this league. I think Wilkesboro, Darlington, those were pretty good races for me. I probably could have gotten a win there if things had gone a little different, but that's all part of being a rookie, Don't have the experience maybe under the belt. And then, things got a little rocky there towards the end with just like trying to make the playoffs and a bit of bad luck. But what are you going to do? This race, though, it was pretty fun. I wish we didn't have to fuel save. Wish it was just a little longer, a little shorter. But, turned out okay for me. Had a fun battle there with Jake at the end. I'd like him to give me my number back, but I think I got to beat him a little more consistently for that to happen. So, overall fun race. Wish we didn't have to fuel save, but proud of myself. And we'll go to next season, try and pick up a win.
Jonathan Oates, P3 tonight at Atlanta. Jonathan, thanks.
Thank you.
And Connor Horn comes home in 2nd place, and really tonight was a strategy play and fuel saving, and it seems like you and the 609 team did a pretty nice job. Appreciate the hood graphic there as well. Connor, you've been a big part of this along the way. We'll see you in the booth Tuesday and Thursday, but tonight P2, not a win, not a championship, but a strong way to end the season.
Yeah, it's my best run of the season, so a good time to do that, I guess. I tried hard to get to Jake. He was just too fast, especially at the end of the run. We're talking in the staging room. What he was doing as far as fuel saving and clutching was a little different. I kind of did it at the end of the runs. He was doing it at the beginning. And his exit speed was really good. And Adam tried to battle him, even though he couldn't make it. But I started pushing as hard as I could with 20 to go, trying to catch him. And he was faster. And he started pulling away. And then I had to just make sure I made it to the end with 5 to go. It was good battling with everyone who finished behind me. Oates, great top 3 for him. He's been great all season. Nichols, Michael, Seth. It was great battling them. I feel like Seth kind of got mad at me for holding him up, but at the end of the race, I gapped him by 5 seconds. So I don't really feel bad for battling him because at the end of the day, I think I was faster long run. But yeah, good to have a strong run like this to end the season. I used a way higher bias, or like a more free bias, just so which means like I turn the wheel more and there's less reaction. I think it was better on the tires and it paid off to get my best run. So that's the first time I felt hope in a next gen in forever. So glad to get double top 3. I know Adam had a good run. He was just hoping for a yellow. Bailey kind of got hit early. But we all had good runs. As far as the season, it was tough, but we came close to third. We still almost had a top 3 owners point season. I think we just missed out, but either way, proud of Adam, proud of Bailey, proud of Jeremy and Jonathan for sticking it out all season long. I'm pulling for Philip Groner, Jake Nichols on Thursday, and then obviously Nichols again on Tuesday along with Seth to win those drivers titles. I think we have the owners titles close to wrapped up in both those series, so I'm really happy with how those days have gone. Just Mondays kind of weren't our forte this season, but I'm really happy about finishing strong, and I'm happy about a green race as well. So I can't thank everyone who races area enough. I can't thank Matthew Tom Malari, who does our paint schemes. He put the graphic, he kind of pitched the idea, and I was all for it, obviously. Sad to see Sim go away from oval racing for a while, but who knows, maybe one day. But I still have 2 more jobs to do, Tuesday and Thursday, so I'll look forward to that as well. So thank you, Kyle Finian, for helping my career out broadcasting, even though it's not much of a career, but I appreciate all the work. Hunter, you've done a great job. You'll continue to do a great job in whatever broadcast area picks up. And obviously, congrats to Jake on the championship. Congrats to Solar Flare on the Owners Championship. And it's a good way to go out, so I'm pretty happy with the result.
Congratulations, Connor Horn, P2 tonight at Atlanta.
Thanks. See you guys.
See ya. And Jake Matheson wins the title. And after what happened in season number 5, Jake, this has got to be some redemption for you, I'm sure. And not only to get redemption, but do it in such a dominant fashion tonight. You led 94 laps of 140. And honestly, at the tail end of the race, it didn't look like there was any chance that anybody, short of you running out of fuel, had any shot to beat you.
Yeah, I mean, just from I think it was lap 30 on, I clutched and turned the car off every lap of this race. And I think that did 2 things for me. 1, it helped save more fuel, and 2, it let my front tires stay a lot cooler all race. So by the end there, I mean, under 5 to go there, I opened it up just to see what it had left, and it was still another it still had all the front turn in the world. So glad it worked out that way. You know me, I love green flag races just all the way through. So happy it went out this way. Definitely redemption from last year. Really happy about that. But more importantly, we got Ricky here, the team owner, Ricky Springer. This is a win for him as well. I mean, obviously we're selling off the charters for next season for this team, so it's really our last shebang as a team. So I'm glad I was able to bring him with me to the championship.
Ricky, thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a awesome season for everybody involved. We had some stuff go on at the beginning of the season, but Jake truly carried the team on his back. I mean, I couldn't be happier with how SRG Esports kind of developed throughout the season. It's a shame that we're selling the charters here, but I think as a inaugural and last season, I think it went as well as, or better than I could have predicted.
Well, guys, congratulations for you, Jake, and for Ricky What a great season. What a great race. A lot of strategy playing out in this one. But Jake Matheson is your Season 6 Area Cup Series champion. Jake, congratulations once more.
Thank you. I really got it. I appreciate it all season, guys. Thank you all for coming in and streaming these races. I really hate to see you guys go next year or for next season, but y'all have been amazing. It's been a blast racing with everybody. The streams have been great. The broadcasting's been awesome. So thank you guys for foremost. And also thanks, Ricky. All the thanks go to Ricky for this season. I mean, he brought me in. I didn't have a team for next season, so he brought me in, and things went about as well as they could have. So, yeah, thank you guys.
Congratulations, and I'll say, did about as well as you could have. Jake Matheson, your winner.
Thank you.
All right, guys, wrapping up a great season here in the Area Cup Series. Hunter Slappy, final thoughts. This was a good one.
Fantastic one. Even with no yellows, we still had a lot of interesting strategy. Tire wear wasn't too much of a concern. It was more on fuel mileage and track position. All three lanes seemed to be in use, but the outside lane is what kept Jake Matheson in front, and it proved crucial because he became the champion out of that. Looking forward to crowning another champion tomorrow night for the trucks and Thursday night for the Pro Series.
Finian?
Yeah, for me, I gotta say, just fantastic season all around for these guys. It's been a phenomenal show, great racing, week in, week out, super competitive championship battle. And just in general for Area, it's been a fantastic ride. The last, two years and change that we've been covering the series for them. They've always put on phenomenal racing, one of the best groups we've worked with. And just a shout out to Jacob Bell, Carter Coop, Eric Wineland, Hunter, you as well, and all the rest of the admins and everyone here for welcoming us, working with us well, and giving us the least amount of problems out of any group we've worked with. It's been a phenomenal ride. Kind of sad we're leaving, but best of luck to Area as a league. Definitely got something great going.
Yeah, they do have something great going. They got 2 more races, 2 more championship rounds to finish out the Truck Series on Tuesday, the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series on Thursday. We're not done quite yet. We'll see you then for the last 2 championship races of the season. Kyle Heyer, Hunter Sleppy, Finian D'Acunha. We'll see you in the future.